miles an hour as the speed limit. I would say if they did it, and I'm a civil engineer, my wife's a traffic engineer, so I understand these things. If they did a speed study on that street, I would say the 85th percentile PennDOT speed would be over 45, 50 miles an hour. I guarantee it, up and down the hill. The other thing that makes it unique is that the road is actually 50 feet wide at the bottom of the hill versus on 5th it's 30 feet. That just promotes, excessive speeds both directions. I've in the same condition, backing out of the drive. People who do have driveways at the bottom, backing out, you have to look. And just look both ways super quickly and pray to God that when you do finally back out, there's not a car right there ready to slam you. It's really, really bad, really bad. And there's a lot of little kids. There's a lot of young kids. I have many neighbors here that would support this. And I can't let my kids in the front yard. I'm afraid to have my kids in the car backing out of the driveway. I'm afraid to let my wife back out of the driveway. It's pretty ridiculous. So to say that this is just another street where they're speeding, it's not. I would encourage anybody to come look at it, especially during the rush hours. People just do not care. They do not care at all. So I've seen and I've had people pass or try to pass me on the road when I'm slowing down to pull into my driveway. It's that crazy. So I understand that when we talk about traffic, it's a contentious issue. People think, in every block there's speeding, and I'm sure there is. But I think, there needs to be a priority list of where the issues are the worst. And if it's not the worst, I would hate to see what is the worst, because it really, truly is that bad. So that's all I had to say. Going up the hill, people drive faster than coming down the hill. But going up the hill, you can't see when people don't stop at the Colwell 6 intersection. So going up the hill, you're just a blind, yeah, it's crazy.
You forgot to mention one thing. If you're going the speed limit, they will pass you on that section.
That's right.
They'll pass you anywhere in country.
They don't even look.
Right.
Joseph Radishevsky, 422 West 6th Avenue. Joe's Garage and Salvage, West 6th Avenue. I lived there. I worked there. I probably know 6th Avenue better than anybody here.
Not me, because I lived on it.
I go up and down. Yeah, but I
was raised on West 6th Avenue.
I work there.
23
I work on 6th
I was
Avenue.
born in West 6th
I'm up and down 6th Avenue.
Okay. Not
I'm
a
up
year's
and down
worth of
6th Avenue at least 30 times a day. In and out, around, road test, the whole bit. Speed bumps are perfect. They will slow them down. My problem with speed bumps is, through my old man here, they don't last. In 2-3 years, they need maintenance. People complain. I think the solicitor will say there's been lawsuits to townships about speed bumps. They spilled the coffee on my dress or whatever. Frivolous, but they finally say it's too much like trouble. Just get rid of the speed bumps. They forget the original purpose. You definitely have to, I've been studying it, you definitely have to put stop signs at Freedley Street. It's a forgotten half a block street. It's a nothing street.
Yeah.
But they shoot out there, and there's no legal place for a child or a handicapped person to cross 6th Avenue, West 6th Avenue, from Wood Street down, including Caldwell. You can't cross there. There's no legal place for you to just go across the street. And the only thing to slow them down would be stop signs, and I know you have them in the yard. You got the post, you got the men, you got a guy to push the white line. One afternoon, you could have your stop signs in and eliminate the problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just so you understand, it's not a speed bump, but a speed table that comes up this way and across.
Hi. Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Hi. My name is
Hold on a
Susan
minute.
Inderbitson.
You just can't put stop signs there. You gotta talk.
Wait,
You gotta talk to cops. There's not no intersection there. You're not gonna put a stop sign in the middle of the street.
But it's not. Freely's a street.
Right in the middle of the street.
There's a street there.
It's a
Street there,
Freely's,
it is
yeah.
a street.
I lived on 6th Avenue. I know what it is. I know exactly where 6th Avenue is.
Yeah.
Wait, everybody's talking here.
Yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
If you could.
To continue, hi, my name is Susan Inderbitson. I live at 332 West 6th Ave. And I wanted to add to what the gentleman prior to me spoke about with Freely. Besides like a child probably dying very soon, because as we all know, Conchie is a growing town. Even my child that was in kindergarten this past year, they added a third grade. So we had two kindergartens, I'm sorry. They added a third kindergarten. We are a growing district. There are children everywhere. Even just on West 6th, on just the 5 houses in the center of that 2-block section, there are 25 kids, and 2 families are pregnant. So if you add that stop sign on Freely, the nice thing too is the problem just where people can't see if they're going to cross the street, if you are lucky enough to have alley parking and you are coming out on Freely and you just want to make a right, God forbid you make a left, but if you want to make a right, there's going to be an accident there because cars are parked on either side of that between Freely. And so just even, I am terrified. I don't ever go out on Freely unless I accidentally forgot. Because if I were to turn, the way the cars are flying to go towards Caldwell, you're going to have an accident there. So you have 2 potential issues. You have children or adults who might get hit by a car, or you also have just a major auto accident because of cars that are just trying to slowly make their way onto West 6th. So just something to consider, because like I said, between the amount of children, people that are, it's a growing town, and we'd like to live there alive. So
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Paul, I have a question. That stop sign that is on 5th,
Can I just say one more
in
personal
between the
note?
block,
Wait a minute.
in between the block, isn't that similar to Freely? Because there really isn't a driveway there. It's behind.
It's a street. It's a legal street in
no, this is-
Conshohocken.
No, I'm talking about something else right now.
You're talking about, it was put in during the project. the
Right.
development project.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
Freely.
yeah.
So that's,
The street is legal, and it's legal. Conshohocken Street is still on the books.
yeah, but you're talking
Originally,
about,
it did have a stop sign. I don't know what happened to it. It probably rotted away.
sir,
There
you're
was
talking
nothing but a
about
dirt
6th.
path when I bought my place. I actually built the alley and had it done and complained enough to get it paved. And now everybody off street parking is using it to come out.
I'm
But there's still no
speaking-
place for you to cross West 6th Avenue. No legal place to cross without jaywalking and get yourself killed.
I was speaking about a stop sign that's on 5th being similar to us putting a stop sign at Freely. Would it be similar to that? I mean, it's a stop sign for nothing.
Yeah, I guess my point is just that it was put in the scope of the development, so it was kind
Right.
of easier to make that assessment that, why did we put a stop sign here? The developer's going to put it in during the course of the project, as opposed to taking existing conditions on 6th. And, obviously, this is going to require some study to determine if a stop sign is warranted. It very may well be, if you look at it as a 3-way intersection, but the study would be warranted.
It is a street, because they come down 6th, and I live there, and I'm, like I say, in and out all day. I'm sitting there with a car, and they don't look, they just swing in. There's no stop, they got their cell phone out, and they're turning in. If you're walking across there or jogging, like right now, this time of evening, all the young girls are jogging up in West 6th Avenue. Seriously. And I'm waiting, somebody's going to kill, because when they come out of Freely, they don't stop.
Can we look into that?
I think that,
Paul, can we look into that type of study? Yes.
John Costello, I live on East 10th Avenue. Why don't you see, the borough has the existing speed hump that's on Ryder Street between 10th and 11th. Why don't you see if you can move that, because I believe it's only bolted to the ground, bolted to the street. Why don't you-
We're not moving that speed hump till I get a stop sign, because I'm not having my neighbor strangle me for the same reason. Not happening. I've been trying to get a stop sign there for 2 years. If I get my stop sign, we can move the ramp. Sorry.
Okay.
So we're all laughing, but we're hearing that this is a very, very serious issue. And I don't want anyone to think,
You gotta talk to the police, and you gotta get a traffic study, like she says, say you're gonna do.
Yeah.
We can talk all day long, we can't go put up a cop sign there. You gotta.
We gotta figure out what's
We
going
gotta get a traffic study so we can get.
can
they
I
suggest
just,
that.
I have a question.
We got the stop signs, we got the posts, we got the labor, we got the white.
I have a question.
There's no problem. Just put them.
Why do we need to do a survey, a traffic study for a stop sign? What legal reason do we have to do that?
Well, anytime you're doing traffic control measures, they have to meet certain requirements that are set by the state. So PennDOT has primary jurisdiction to dictate how and when certain traffic calming measures and traffic control devices, traffic signals, speed limits, all those things are set by state code. And in order to qualify both for state funding, as we were talking about liquid fuels, if we're going to keep that street on the liquid fuels list so we get funding to maintain it, it has to meet state standards. Your insurance will also require you to meet certain requirements as set by the state in order for you to continue to qualify for liability coverage. If we go just throwing up stop signs hither, dither, and yon when they don't meet certain warrants and they're not justified, or we put them in places where or don't put them in places where they're required, that can run you into all sorts of legal problems. So that's why we try to follow those uniform standards. Now, with stop signs and things like that, the mayor does have power to order emergency or to temporary
I'm just
traffic
wondering,
control measures for a 90-day period, which may give you the opportunity to see if it has some effect over traffic flows that then could justify going into a further study to establish permanent fixtures.
so
Even though that street is not a state street, we still have to
You
go
still get-
through.
yes.
We have to go.
We're not exempt
Okay.
from the state standard.
I'm just wondering how we manage to do it on every other corner in Conshohocken over the last 20 years without traffic studies.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is there a way?
Well, I mean, if we wanted to take, my recommendation would be if you wanted to try on a temporary basis, putting up a stop sign to see if it does help redirect or modify the flow of the traffic, then that's something that the mayor has the power under the borough code to order certain temporary traffic control measures. I think it's a 90-day basis on a trial basis that the mayor could direct and the streets department could put up stop signs on a temporary basis, and then we reevaluate after that.
And then do we have to do
Put the
it?
stop signs up temporary, forget about
Right.
it.
Well, unfortunately,
Do we have to do a traffic
Here's Colleen's
study?
answer.
Do we have to do a traffic study after that?
I think you don't have to do a full-blown traffic study, but that's something that we could work out on the administrative side to document the change in traffic flow.
Heck, if.
And we would have to,
Sit there.
for the stop signs to be enforceable, again, you could put a stop sign anywhere, but if it's not codified, if it's not part of your ordinance, and if it's not adopted and approved by council pursuant to those requirements, then somebody blows through the stop sign, we can't fine them for doing that. There's no enforcement. It has to be a legally adopted and approved stop sign. The measure that I'm talking about gives the mayor the power to do that under the borough code, so that's a legitimate exercise of his authority. But if you go beyond that temporary measure, it may not be enforceable if it's not adopted appropriately.
So if there was a study done pre and post, then would that be enough for us to be able to keep it there on a permanent basis?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, we'd have to talk to the borough's traffic engineers just to verify we've covered all the bases.
So it is an option that we can look into.
Yeah.
I
You
got
say
one more
you have to
person,
cut out the corners
I got one more
No,
person.
No, I didn't say that.
on the streets?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm Debbie Smith. I own the property 424 West 6th, and my daughter, the nurse, rents there. In conjunction with the idea of putting the stop sign by the Friedley intersection there, I'd like to suggest that maybe put a pedestrian crosswalk there as well. With the white lines, because all of the folks that are trying to get their children across the street, and there really is no safe place, that wouldn't be a huge expense, but it would be a real visual for folks that are doing 40, 45, and 50 going down that road. I've owned the property there for 10 years, and I've rented the property to family for half of the time and to other, public tenants the other time. But all of my tenants have said, all of them have said it's a nightmare to get in and out of that driveway. And it's grown worse. It really is something that we have to address before somebody gets hurt. And also, just a comment, a secondary comment, we've been talking mainly about safety, and that's primary. But in a growing area, Conshohocken, all over the place is busy. There's some pockets that's not so busy. For example, Shannon's Way, back in Wood Street by First. There's hardly any traffic there. Folks drive more respectfully. This is the opposite, the total opposite. And it really does impact the property value. I'm speaking as a realtor for 22 years. I have a real estate broker's license. And when we go to sell our properties on the lower end of 6, that's going to be a huge red flag and objection. And it will impact our property values in the long run as well, disproportionately to the other areas in Conshohocken. Again, that's a secondary consideration, but something that I wanted to voice.
Have you seen any change since they put the gates in the new construction site?
Not really.
Because I know people can't really come out that way now, that the gates are there.
Yeah.
That's not where the traffic's coming from. The traffic's from the gates?
Yeah, over Freely.
Yeah.
Like from the back alley out?
Some people will come through there, but not very many.
Okay.
But what we're concerned about is the speed more than anything.
Okay,
People
yeah.
coming this way, not necessarily traffic coming out.
Yeah, I think they drive up towards Wood to get out of Sutcliffe
Yeah,
Park.
I know. I've
So,
been down
thank
there,
you.
unfortunately.
Do you guys have the study from 2016?
I believe so. Do we have the study from 2016?
I do have the study from 2016.
Is that public record?
Yes.
We can make it public record.
One more
Yes.
comment.
Yes.
Hello, David Inderbitson, husband of Sue. Just in regard to your question, the gates are great. They do keep the people from using that alley because there really be no reason to.
Right.
So we don't get a lot of traffic that way. But you can imagine if you're in that community and you want to get out of town, you do have to circle around and you're either going to take 6th or 5th
Right.
to get out. So that still is bringing traffic that way, but not so much from Freedley.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Freedley stop sign, I think, with the walkway would be an excellent idea for safety purposes. So thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Savona, what would the mayor, I guess, I don't know, do we then kind of take
That's,
in here, we want?
if that's something you want us to do, we can work that out administratively. And get that temporary measures.
I just want to say one thing. Thank you to all the residents from 6th Avenue who came out. I know it sounded like when we started this that we may not have cared about only 6th Avenue. It is a full borough issue, but hearing from you today, 6th Avenue obviously has priority to the residents because of the growing community and the children in the community. I live on Spring Mill, which is also a raceway, so I understand. There's a little hill. I understand the whole dynamics of it. I do think that what I would like to do as we're trying to identify solutions that are the right solutions to solve this problem is challenge our police department in also finding different ways that we can protect the citizens on that roadway from a speeding perspective. We may not be doing everything that we could possibly be doing, and I would challenge the police to help us solution this as we're trying to figure out permanent fixes for the scenarios that we've heard today.
Any more public comment?
Yeah.
Council, Mayor? Darlene?
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the fireworks was very well ran. I mean, the fire department, the police department, the fire police, all the volunteers, Steph and Kate. I mean, it was a well-organized fireworks. I think we had very little problems. If Lieutenant George could come up and just Lieutenant Metz?
Thank you, Bob. For the, we've been doing the fireworks several years now at Sutcliffe Park, and we ran into some big problems last year down there. Number one, the crowd was huge last year. I don't know why. I wish I could get my hand on why some years it's so big and other years it's not. But last year was huge, and we ran into like big traffic issues getting out of there. The road was shut down way too long. We had big disturbances afterwards and all. We addressed all those things this year. We came up with a new plan, new traffic plan. We got some of our law enforcement partners involved, and it was smooth this year. It emptied out of there quickly. Just about everything that we came up with and our traffic safety unit proposed worked. We had a smaller crowd, obviously, but very few problems. There was one arrest after the incident, or after the event, off the property, just an intoxicated, disorderly person. So it was a little bit of a challenge coming up with some new ideas this year, but it worked, and it was good. Since I'm up here, I'm going to take an opportunity to thank the fire police, because none of this happens without them. And every chance I get, I want to say we're lucky we have them, because all the things we do in this town don't happen without them. And they're all volunteers, and they request mutual aid from all over the area. So all these guys that, out of the goodness of their heart, come down and stand in the street and get abused by people,
Yes.
and get rained on and all this stuff. And they're the purveyors of these events. And thanks for the opportunity for me to say that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
How do residents handle those that are having picnics and decide to set off fireworks? Not the little ground guys, but the ones that go up in the air. Do we call you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
I can't say this enough. Call the police.
Okay.
We address problems all the time, and when you talk to people, they tell you what they unfolds in front of them, and then they don't bother to, for whatever reason, to call us. And that's why we're here. That's what we do.
Okay.
Big fireworks are against the law, and they're a public safety issue, so call us.
I'll be calling next year because we had a problem afterwards,
Yeah, well, listen,
setting things on fire.
the fireworks night is not just the event at the park. That is our busiest policing night of the year, trust me. You may wait an hour and a half for a cop to get there for a firework or a parking complaint or a minor accident, because we are overwhelmed with calls that night. And that's without exception.
Do you bring everybody in for that?
No one's off.
Okay.
The only, if you're hurt, sick, or your wife's having a baby, that's it.
Okay, thank you, George.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
One more thing, I want to thank the Public Works Department, what they have done to set up for that event, and also the cleanup after that. You should see that park 5 o'clock in the morning after the fireworks. It's a mess. And I got to tell them about that new equipment we put in Sutcliffe Park. I'll tell you, it got abused, but there had to be 50 kids on that merry-go-round.
Saw that picture.
If I had my phone, I would have took a picture, but I'll tell you, that equipment got well tested. That's the strongest equipment in this country, I'll tell you, because it was great to see all them kids going around about 40 miles an hour on that merry-go-round.
You got anything, James?
Just want to say congratulations to the 3 Soapbox Derby winners and good luck in Akron, Ohio.
No, I don't have anything, thank you.
Anita?
Curtail off the lieutenant's way nicely ended that wrap up of the fireworks. My name's Nicholas Insonia. Forgive me, I'm a little bit nervous. A resident of 111 West 3rd. I have my wife and I have a child there. He's going to turn 1 next week. We have neighbors live next to us, across the street, lots of young kids, as over on West 6th. It's a fun place to live. We all know each other. We all enjoyed the fireworks display. There's a cancer there, though. There's a man squatting in 107 West 7th Avenue. I'm sure the officers know of who I'm talking about. He was a former renter in 107 West 7th Avenue. He was what the neighbors feel was operating, he was dealing drugs out of the residence. He went to prison this past spring for probably a couple months. During that time, a no trespass went up on his door, and immediately after he went to prison, the people he associates himself with started breaking into his property to take stuff out of his property. The police were notified of that, and they told us that anytime someone goes into his property, call the police. So we did. And it didn't take long for the residents to quiet down. Everybody was happy again. Recently, the gentleman got out of prison, and the gentleman who owns the property approached me and said, my former resident has gotten out of prison. I have allowed him a 2-hour window to go into his property and get everything out. I was like, all right, that sounds fair to me. He owns property in there. He's going to leave. Well, he went in and he didn't leave, and he's still in there, and he is moving product out. And this past 4th of July, or this past Sunday, a great opportunity for him to move product was the wonderful fireworks display at Sutcliffe Park, because all the police officers were up there. Multiple calls by myself, my neighbors, to Montgomery County Dispatch, and my family and my neighbors want to know what it's going to take to get this gentleman out of that building. 111 West 3rd.
You could talk to the police on that. You can't get him out.
West 3rd, my next door neighbor. West 3rd, yes, West 3rd. Why, what did I say? Oh, forgive me, 107 West 3rd. 107 West 3rd, yeah. I think they know what I'm talking about.
George, can you help him?
My question to you was, I was confused.
Yeah,
You were there today.
I know you were there today, and license and inspection was there today, and he has no water. So the landlord is not paying his water bill. The gentleman approached my wife. My wife was at home by herself, and he asked for water. She said, sure, I will go get you a glass of water. But what he did was decide to siphon water out of my property into his property. And my wife's home alone. He's 450 pounds. They know who I'm talking about. Like, what is she going to do? Say, no, you can't have any water? I feel threatened. So I got home, and she was like, oh, he's siphoning water out of our property. And I went outside, and I shut the hose off, and I took my hose back. He's not a good person. And there are 8 children within stone's throw of that property and 2 schools. So I was hoping he wouldn't come back. It was wonderful when he was away.
Are we doing everything in our power to help this situation?
Yeah, we were there today, I know that. I felt the story on TV today, and we felt, what was going on there. There's a lack of cooperation with the owner of that building.
The owner of the building's a scumball, too.
I think I think that with the sensitivity of the topic, if you can get with the lieutenant
Sure.
privately after the meeting.
Sure.
And we can address it administratively.
Sounds great
Thank
to me.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got anything, Kim?
Just wanted to let everybody know, tomorrow evening is the next comprehensive task force plan task force meeting. I'm a little tired, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Whatever it